teaspoon of baking powder, 2 unwaxed lemons, and for the icing you'll need 150 grams of white chocolate, chopped, plus extra grated to decorate, and 75 ml of double cream. Preheat the oven to gas mark 3 and line a loaf tin with greaseproof paper. Put the butter and sugar in a mixing bowl and mix well with an electric whisk. Add the eggs and whisk for a couple of minutes until pale and fluffy, gently folding the flour sugar, butter, and sour cream. Mix well until the mixture resembles fine breadcrumbs. Stir together